swaggering boisterously on a Sunday night, and I got my boys with me. Let's get it.
This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, we just shot a few of my shits down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scramble they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
Showtime. It's your boy, Big Mike Raider. And next to me, right here, to the left or right, I don't know which way it is on your screen, but on my screen, it's to the left, is my co-host, KaneTown Raider. My boy, what's going on, bro? What's going on?
What's good, man? How's it going? I feel like I ain't seen you in 2 hours.
I know, man. It's been a whole 2 hours, man, and I missed you. I'm hungry, though. We were talking about food before this, man. We got 20 in the chat before we get started. We're going to do a little round table. We're going to introduce everybody. We already know about KaneTown. Make sure you guys go over and subscribe to KaneTown Raider.
I'll drop my link in the chat.
I put the link in there for you. I put it as a
man, you look at you.
I pinned it for you, bro. Right below me, I got two up-and-coming Raider content creators. Starting off with Raider Ed with Raiders Primos Podcast. Introduce yourself. Let us know where we can find you, bro.
Yep. Raider Ed, part of co-host Raiders Primos. My co-host is Raider Nate. But I am like the vocal point of Raiders Primos. He lets me go represent other chats. But yeah, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, Raiders Primos. That's all you got to search up. That's where you can find us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with the Protect the Shield podcast, my boy, right here, right below me. Let us know where to find you. Let us know how it's going. Everything that you got going on, let us know, bro.
Yeah, what's happening, everybody? Chris will Protect the Shield podcast. Glad to be on here, man. But I'm basically on all the social medias, man. IG, Facebook, TikTok. So you can just look up Protect the Shield podcast. Just been grinding right now. Also, co-hosting on the Nothing But Raiders podcast as well. So I go live every Friday. I got a Fan Talk Friday I do. And then for the Nothing But Raiders podcast, we do every Tuesday. So, man, I'm glad to get on here with you fellas, man, talk some ball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. We're going to get into it, man. But before we do that, we got 18 in the chat. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Shout out to Sean Johnson. Shout out to Protect. Oh, yeah, that's you, bro. JB. What's up? What's up? There you go, man. Salute to you, man. So, guys, let's jump into this first thing, man. Let's jump into the first one. Raiders Scout coming through. The streets are dry. So, Raiders Scout coming here, providing us a little rain, right before the preseason starts, before we get into camp. He says the Raiders wanted to run more concepts last season that involved wide receiver motions, bubble screens, sweeps, halfback rush concepts. In doing so, the Raiders also want to up their pre-snap motion, where they ranked 11th in the NFL last year, to try and ease up the box for the run game.
Yep.
A crucial aspect for the Raiders shying away from this in 2022 was the lack of notable speed receivers. The Raiders incision a large share of work in these concepts for DeAndre Carter, Trey Tucker, and if he makes the roster, Philip Dorsett. First things first, what do you guys think first? I'm not going to put any thoughts into your head because I know it's almost the same idea, right? We almost got the same first idea that pops into your head. KaneTown, my boy, your first idea when you hear this, bro.
I like it, man. You run more concepts. You have more opportunity to confuse the defense. I did feel like last year, while we did have a lot of offensive success, we looked a little vanilla out there, looked a little basic. I like bringing in Trey Tucker, getting in there, being able to run the reverses and the screens and a lot more of that kind of stuff. I think we'll use more of our running backs this year. It was the Josh Jacobs show last year. It should be mostly that again this year, but I do expect to see more from Sincere McCormick, Amir Abdullah, Zamir White, not Brandon Bolden, and Brenton Brown. It's kind of exciting to hear. And in the possible situation where Josh doesn't play for us, if he's holding out or if we ultimately move him, it's good for all those young backs to not be solely dependent on to do all the work. So getting them all mixing the speed with the power, I think could only help.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Primos, what you got, bro?
Let me take you guys back to the beginning of the 2021 season. Early season, Derek Carr's an MVP candidate, and one reason was, it's unfortunate, but Henry Ruggs III. Yeah. Henry Ruggs III had speed that could not be coached. He had speed that took a top off the defense, not just when he was receiving the ball, but just during play action passes. As you said, KaneTown, mixed power with speed. You have Josh Jacobs out there, but you got Trey Tucker doing motions in and out. You got to account for that speed. And you got to account for Josh Jacobs because he can run it up the gut. Speed cannot be taught. When you have speed like Trey Tucker, DeAndre Carter, Phillip Dorsett, that speed brings to the table, it opens up your offense. You can do way more with your offense. And last season, we kept saying who's going to be that deep threat. Hunter Renfro, he can get over the top, but he doesn't have that speed that you have to account for. That we have to lock him down. We got to put a safety over the top. We kind of relied on Devontae Adams to be that deep threat, but Adams' game comes run after catch. So I think this season, when I hear that the Raiders want to do more jet sweeps, more motions, I'm here for it because that opens up the offense, and that could just make our offense way more deadly. And hopefully Josh Jacobs signs that deal to make it even more deadly than it could also already be.
Sounds good, man. Chris, what you got, bro?
Think about the Super Bowl. Andy Reid was phenomenal when he made adjustments and started going in motion and getting that Eagles defense kind of off balance. Even when he do like the fake motion, like they'll go motion and go back out and stuff like that was amazing. So anything that you can do to kind of get that defense off guard, at the end of the day, they have to respect that speed. Just kind of like what Ed said, you got to respect, whether the person gets the ball or not, you got to keep your eye on it. But then at the end of the day, if we got JJ running, you got to put somebody in the box. He's gonna eat. He's gonna get us six yards of carry. We're just gonna beat you up and play bully ball all day. And not to mention, we got the best receiver in the game. What are you gonna do there? You got to bracket him because no one's gonna guard him one-on-one. So I think the more creative we can be, honestly, that's what I think Kyle Shanahan does well. If we really think about it, he does a lot of, motions and different formations. So, the more that we can get into that stuff and make that defense pick their poison, the better we'll be, man.
Yeah, man, definitely. I like all you guys' takes. One thing that pops up in, like, the first thing I said was, okay, so where does Hunter Renfro fit into all this? That's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw this was like, okay, we know that they're looking for more speed at receiver, and and according to Scout, he's naming guys like DeAndre Carter, Trey Tucker, even Phillip Dorsett. Now, to me, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but where does Hunter Renfro fit in all this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, this is looking a little weird to me. This is looking a little fishy. Guys, my next question, because of that first thought, is what's going on with Hunter Renfro? Where are we going with Hunter Renfro? Where is he going? Is he going to be on this team post 10:31 at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is the trade deadline? Is he going to be on this team after this?
I surprisingly think he will, honestly. I think one thing with Hunter, he doesn't have that speed, but Hunter is a guy that could beat someone one-on-one. And if you guard him one-on-one, he'll win a lot of those. I think the Danny Amendola signing was specifically for Hunter Renfro. That's just me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Primos, what you got, bro?
I'm glad Chris brought up Danny Amendola, because let's take it back to when Danny Amendola, back in his New England Patriots days, him and Edelman.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels did wonders with Edelman and Amendola. And could you imagine what a guy like Trey Tucker or Philip Dorsett, DeAndre Carter could do with the Hunter Renfro? I know we talk about what Myers and Adams could do together, but let's think about what these slot receivers could do together. I think slot receivers, they're very much underappreciated for how much they open it up for wide receivers, for tight ends. Renfro, and you put a speedster in the slot, I feel like Hunter Renfro is going to do wonders. Think about what Chris said, one-on-ones. He's going to win those. The routes that Hunter Renfro now does. Now, it does go to say, does Josh McDaniels hold a leash on Hunter Renfro? That's yet to really be known, considering he missed time last season. But I think that was the only knock we had on Renfro, is he couldn't stay healthy. Let's see how he does this season, and hopefully he can stay healthy. And with a full healthy season, I think he's going to stay on this team.
Okay. KaneTown, last but not least, let's go. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I expect Renfro to be on the team solely because I think we are not going to be successful in finding a trade partner. I do think the way McDaniels runs his offense, the way he handled Hunter Renfro when Renfro was healthy last year, I think McDaniels doesn't see Renfro as a long-term part of this team. I think he wants more speed at the slot position like he had with Amendola, Wes Welker, Edelman, all them guys. Hunter has a similar style to some of them, but he doesn't have the speed, and I think that's why McDaniels probably will not keep him around. And McDaniels like you were saying, puts a leash on him. He can't run these routes. He can't freestyle them like he wants to do. So if he's got to run these specific routes the way McDaniels wants him to run it, well, that's not how Hunter Renfro plays ball.
Yeah, he freestyles.
So if you can't, and then McDaniels is known for, you bend to my system, I don't bend to the players. So I don't see the fit at this point for Renfro. I love Hunter Renfro. He's been one of my favorite Raiders the last few years, but you gotta fit the system, and if you don't fit the system, you gotta go. But I feel like they will have problems getting a partner to take on that contract. So at the end of the day, I do think he will be on the roster.
Sounds good, man. Good points. Let me acknowledge the chat, man. Shout out to AR, my boy. What's going on, man? Salute to you. Thanks for pulling up. Matt Marinovich has a good take right here. He says Jimmy G is going to need Renfro in the short passing game. What do you guys think about that?
Nah, I don't think he's going to need him. I think he's a nice piece for the short passing game. Well, you got Devontae can run every route in the game, and I think we're going to run a lot less deep routes considering Jimmy G doesn't throw the deep ball like DC. So I think you're going to have Devontae on a lot more shorter routes going over the middle and everything. You got Mayer, who's going to specialize in 5 to 15 yards. And then you got the guys like Trey Tucker and all them who can run, drag routes, catch the ball, and then make a play. So it's kind of he has a want, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, got to agree with KaneTown on that. You have more weapons than just a Hunter Renfro. Not needed. Devontae Adams jumps right off the charts. When you have a wide receiver who can run every route in the game and has amazing hands like he does in the game, pause if necessary, then third down's not going to be an option. Third and short, second and short's not going to be an option. Red zone's not going to be an issue. When you have guys like Mayer, Adams, Myers, you don't really need a Hunter Renfro at that point. The only reason I say we look at Hunter Renfro as a need is because of his 2021 season. That's when we needed Hunter Renfro, and Hunter Renfro stepped up. But unfortunately for Renfro, the Raiders went out and got some more pieces to where he's not really a need anymore at this point. As we said with running backs, slot receivers are replaceable also. You can go find someone who can kind of do Renfro things other than freestyling. That's probably the only thing I would say Renfro does well than any other slot receiver. But to really play that slot, I think you can find someone, especially when you got Adams, you got one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You really will look to him on third and short situations or second and short situations.
Yes, sir. Chris, what you got, bro?
So, I'm a Hunter fan. I do like Hunter. I think The only thing that I just keep going back to is that contract, man. I would, you know what I'm saying? Like I would love to see him maybe restructure, but I don't want to count Hunter out just because he's the type of player, at least from what I see, he's going to try to do what needs to be done as far as like he's coachable. You could tell he has a good work ethic. He's probably more comfortable freestyling, as we know, but I think he's going to adapt to what McDaniels wants, just because he just seems like that type of guy. So, and I think he feels like he has a lot to prove.
Freezing up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not KaneTown freezing up this time. I'm just kidding. Love you, KaneTown. Love you, man.
Hey, Chris, if you're still there, bro, I'm think I'm gonna have to drop you off for a little bit. You like super frozen, man. I'm gonna come back when you can, bro. Come back when you can. But yeah, good. It's a good point that he said. Let me acknowledge some more of this chat. Jack Kenna, thanks for popping in, bro. Marvin Lewis, my boy, thanks for popping in. Hold on, there we go. There you go. There you go. Appreciate you, Maurice Babyface Hamilton. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for supporting as always, man. So about Hunter Renfro, this is according to ESPN Fantasy Football Database. I've been throwing stats out here like for the last couple of days. Hunter Renfro, he's slated to have 60 receptions, 635 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's kind of high, man. I think that I think maybe that would have been last year's expectation for him, but this year it doesn't seem like that's an accurate depiction of what he's going to be on this offense. I think those numbers are going to go towards a DeAndre Carter and Trey Tucker. I don't know about Philip Dorsett. I think that he's going to be on the outside looking in this situation, but I think that Hunter Renfro, he just doesn't have the speed that we're looking for this offense. And he can't be that improviser like he was under John Gruden. It's just not. That's not how Josh McDaniels operates this offense. So I think at some point he's going to be moved. We're not going to get what we should have got for him. I think maybe a 4th or 5th round pick would be ideal in this situation, even though, a 3rd round would have been a better situation. Like, if we would have got rid of him sometime last year or even mid-season, but because of the bad season he had last year and the injuries and things like that, his value goes down. So that's kind of what we're left with, guys. That's kind of how I feel. But guys, we have 47 in the building. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks, guys. I have the next subject. We're going to talk about the Raiders tight ends. Pause if necessary.
We know Jimmy B loves those tight ends.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely.
Sean Johnson's comment that he just put down. Perfect timing.
There you go. Let's pull it up. We have Austin Hooper, too, along with Michael Mayer and O.J. Howard. We have the weapons. So that's the next question. I think we got our guy back. Yeah, you were super glitchy, bro. We have to drop you real quick, but
My bad.
You look good. You're good, bro. You look good to go right now. We're going to the next subject. We're talking about the Raiders tight end room, and our first string looks like it's going to be Michael Mayer and Austin Hooper. If you guys had to pick right now, who would you go with, considering knowing what Michael Mayer did at Notre Dame and what Austin Hooper brings, what he's brought for his last about 7 years he's been in the league or something like that? Like, considering those two things, the body of work, who are you going with to be your tight end one this season, starting the season?
I'm going to start with, as of right now, if regular season started now, with not seeing anybody play in the preseason, I'm going Austin Hooper. Okay. But I fully expect Michael Mayer to take that job in the preseason. Dude is just uber talented. He's tough. Bro really does remind me of a Gronk. His dude break tackles. He's a great in blocking. He just does it all. And if he's a percentage of what he's expected to be, man, he's going to be a really good tight end. He should earn it in preseason. If he doesn't, I'm going to be a little worried.
There you go. Let's see. We got our fifth member right here making his debut.
What's going on?
Severe Raider, my boy.
What's up, man?
Hey,
my bad.
before we
StreamYard was tripping on your boy, man. But you know, we in there like swimwear now, so let's get it cracking.
It's good, bro. Hey, make sure you let everybody know what you're about, what you got going on. Before we start into this subject, man, let us know what you got going on, bro.
What's up? You know, as you said, you know, I'm a rookie in the game. But you know, I'm trying to come with some, some fresh content, a little bit of a different perspective. So, got a few videos up right now, about to be pumping out more, man. So, I've been watching all of you guys, for the most part. So that's been hella motivation, to be honest with you. So, I'm ready to just, make this thing happen.
Hell yeah. Where can they find you at, bro?
Man, Severe Raider. So, just search me up on YouTube, Severe Raider. You'll peep the logo, that's courtesy of Big Mike Raider, man. The Big Mike Raider, writer / contributor / graphic designer, man. So
hey, don't let people know that part, bro.
Big Mike, I need a thumbnail.
Man,
right, see, there you go. Hey,
I'm his unofficial agent, man. So y'all go ahead, go through me first, man.
Well, shit, I appreciate you in advance, bro. But let's see what you got, bro. This is our first subject. Well, it's our second subject. You missed the first one, but we're talking about the tight end room, and we just went to KaneTown. We were talking about Michael Mayer versus Austin Hooper, tight end 1, week 1. Who you picking? Considering both resumes, what they bring to the table, things like that. Who are you going with? KaneTown. He says Austin Hooper
right?
first.
Austin, right? Yeah.
Austin Hooper.
I think it's gonna be Mayer. I think people are sleeping on OJ Howard, man. I think people are sleeping on OJ Howard. OJ Howard, when OJ Howard was drafted, this doesn't say a lot because we heard this before, but OJ Howard was considered like the safest player in that first round in terms of what he can be, what his ceiling was, what his floor was. He's a high floor guy, but still had high ceiling. If he can ever stay healthy and just put the receiving part of his game together, because he's already a very, very good blocker, which is something that Josh McDaniels values in a tight end, which is why our ex-tight end is not here anymore. Part of the reason why he's not here anymore. So I think the fact that Michael Mayer has already that good blend of receiving skills as well as blocking skills, I think that gives him a leg up on guys like Austin Hooper, even though Austin Hooper is probably right now our best pure receiver at the tight end position, especially based on what he did, before he went to the talent wasteland that is Cleveland. But his previous stops, he was a very good receiver, and I think he'll be that in this system as well. But we already have a guy similar to that in Jesper Horsted, so I think it could be a competition between Austin Hooper and Jesper Horsted, instead of people assuming that OJ Howard is going to be that guy out. But as tight end 1, I definitely got Mayer, aka Baby Gronk.
Okay. So you did mention about injuries, right? Shout out to Raider Nation Jason. That's hard to say. He says all 3 tight ends need to stay healthy. All do different things. Blocking is one of the things they can do that helps our running back room. And you just touched on that. Like, it's important that we have 3 tight ends that stay upright and stay healthy. You're absolutely right about that. Raiders Primos, what you got, bro? What you tight end 1, week 1? Who you got?
I'm going Austin Hooper also. You got Michael Mayer, who's 22 years old, coming into the NFL. So you could really groom him for 2 years. Now, not saying that you just have him as tight end 3, have him sit. No, I think where he's going to be dangerous is the red zone. The red zone, I really believe Josh McDaniels is going to bring in Michael Mayer, run 2 tight end stints. It's been known that Josh McDaniels loves to run the 2 tight end offense. And you have Austin Hooper, who is a veteran, and his best year comes back in 2019. It seems long ago, but really not that long ago, where he played for Atlanta, and he caught 75 balls, 787 yards for 6 touchdowns. Austin Hooper, a vet, went to Cleveland, as we call him, the talent wasteland of the NFL. And then he went to Tennessee, where I was actually surprised that he didn't put up numbers in Tennessee. But then you look at what Tennessee got going on; they're slowly becoming the Cleveland Browns. Also, I really believe that Austin Hooper, his career, not to say is going to be resurrected, but he's not going to be like the guy we've seen with Cleveland, not like the guy we see with Tennessee. I believe we are going to get the Atlanta Falcons version of Austin Hooper, and that's only going to make Michael Mayer better. So, yeah, I'm going with Austin Hooper. I think that's a safe bet, but like KaneTown pointed out, I would love to see Michael Mayer take the starting job probably late in the season.
All right. Chris, pop off, bro.
So I think Hooper will be a good depth, and I think he'll be able to come in for good two tight end sets, but it has to be Mayer, for the fact we got him. We let Waller walk, so at the end of the day, I mean, we need to make sure we give Jimmy all the weapons that he can, and I'm thinking that, I mean, and again, and this is if Mayer earns a spot. I think one thing about this regime, nothing's going to be handed out, those scholarships. Everyone's going to have to earn, their position. So I would like to see Mayer win that position and go ahead and start from day one. It kind of reminds me of a more explosive Zach Miller when we got Zach Miller back in the day. So I like to see just rip off the Band-Aid and go ahead and put him in there day one. Now, and then talking about just the depth behind there, OJ Howard, I think he will be the man out. One thing about him coming out of college, he was definitely explosive, but I think his injuries kind of made him lose some of that explosion. But Horse said he plays special teams. I don't think OJ Howard is going to be that be playing special teams and being that dynamic in that aspect. So I really think OJ is going to be the man out.
Okay. So if I had to pick one, right, and let me jump into the chat because it's definitely flying right here. We has right here. Shout out to Matt Marinovich. He says Hooper and Howard at the beginning with Mayer being worked in when he gets adapted into the NFL game. Now I will say. The chat has almost a 50-50 between Mayer and Hooper. Yeah. I think people are liking kind of the experience over the rookie, kind of ease him in. But then there's people like, hey, if he is who people are saying he is, throw him in there, right? Yeah. That's kind of where they're at. Shout out to JB. He says, yeah, I got a feeling we have an identity early this season. In Dave Ziegler, we trust. I hope that's the case, man. Guys, we got Swag Jeff in the building with the Raiders Fan Radio podcast. If you guys haven't checked them out, man, Swag Jeff, man, hey, thank you, man.
Fire show.
Yeah, it's a fire show. Great. It's a dope show, man. Like, if you haven't checked it out, guys, I'm sure you guys already have all 49 that's in the building. Go ahead and check it out, man. Salute to you, Swag Jeff. I got to give you a call, man. Definitely. Maurice Babyface Hamilton, he says Hooper will help Mayer out in becoming a great tight end again if the hype lives up. Jersey Raider. Okay. So hey, I mean, I don't know, man. I think Mayer, I think his potential is already like, hey, he's already above a Hooper to me. But you got to come out and perform. That's kind of where we're at, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, Swag Jeff. Hey, definitely you can go pick this up over there. Over at his say what?
The place.
At the place. I couldn't think, bro. But yeah, that's why you're my co-host, bro. Because I'll be
got you, bro.
Hey, but yeah, definitely. Shout out to Anthony Provencio. Thanks for popping in, man. I'm super behind on these chats, bro. As soon as I get talking, you guys gotta tell me to shut up at some point, man.
Shut up.
Big Mike, bro, you made my wife cry, bro. It's over, man. Like, bro, you be falling too behind in the chat, bro. I'm out of here.
Man, well, I didn't know you were as sensitive as Derek Carr, but
don't get the chat started. Don't get the chat started.
Bro, let's not get this chat started, bro. Hey, well, we talking offense, though. We talking offense.
I just had a revelation.
Yeah. That's why I protect the shield left, man. You must have made his wife cry too.
Dang, I'm making everybody cry, man. Damn.
He dipped out. He was like, man, I'm done. I was gonna stay on, but
Yeah. So light bulb went off for KaneTown. What you got, bro?
I have a bold, hot take.
Okay.
The Raiders will have the #1 red zone offense in the NFL this year.
That is the boldest of takes.
That is very bold.
Hey, you know
considering
what?
we've been asked for like 10 years in the red zone.
For real. But
That take should come with an advisory label.
I was gonna
Hey,
say,
protect the shield, my wife crying.
Howard, Mayer, Jacobs, Adams, all killers in the red zone, and Jimmy.
Yeah, nah, that's facts.
Man,
don't get the quarterback talk started now.
Swag Jeffy goes, respect. Raiders want to trade back into the first to get Mayer. I think he's the starter. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, too, because Mayer, he was arguably the #1 tight end coming out this year. And that's who we got. Like, you don't get a #1 tight end out of this class and just put him on the bench.
Yeah.
And Austin Hooper, as decent as he is, you've seen his best. I think we've seen his ceiling.
Yeah.
We've seen his ceiling, and I think it's time. I think it's time for him to kind of take a seat back and then take that kind of second tight end role. And then, unfortunately, I think OJ Howard is going to be on the outside looking in, but he'll find another job somewhere. He's a talented tight end. He just doesn't. I think it's just not enough room in that tight end room for OJ Howard. What do you guys think about that one?
Man, we forgot one guy. Man, the starter, the #1, day one, Bobenmeyer. He's long snapper. Technically, he's a tight end. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot we don't got Sieg anymore, bro.
Trent Sieg is gone, man.
Dang, you're right.
Man. Trent Sieg is gone.
He was the 2 longest tenured Raiders in the same year.
Man, if Bobenmeyer's on the field and it's not a punt situation, we're in trouble.
No, bro, we are in big.
They're gonna have Big Mike suit up to be tight end.
Man, bro, I'm a pulling guard these days, bro.
No, I think.
I do think it comes down to though. So does everybody feel like Howard's the odd man out and Horsted is staying, or?
I'm the odd man out here where I think Howard is going to stay. I think the competition is between Horsted and Hooper, because those guys are the two more similar guys. I just think that they value that blocking. I think they want a situation where they can run these jumbo packages and not have to put an additional lineman out there. Actually have a guy that's a receiving threat that can also block, and I think that will help us out tremendously in short yardage situations as well as in the red zone. I think that is really going to really be something that they value. I think that blocking piece of it is something that they're going to value a lot, and as well as he's an Alabama guy, and we all know Josh McDaniels and the Patriot organization, period, and the guys that come from the Patriot organization, they always have an affinity for Alabama guys for whatever reason. So I think that will also play a little bit in his favor as well.
Man, that's a fact. But guys, this is a historic event right here. I got my first super chat.
First super.
Shout out to Marvin Lewis with a $5 super chat. Yo, hey, I appreciate you. You are part of Big Mike Raider history.
Man,
salute, support to all you gentlemen, Raiders. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support, man. That means a lot to me, man. I mean, I was doing this for free. I appreciate it, man. That's crazy to me, man. You're part of Big Mike Raider history, man.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Facts, man.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Dominic 5, man. Coach DC in the building as well. Guys,
this could be
M85. Guys, next subject. Let's talk about this running back room.
Ooh.
Primos, we talked about it on your show.
Bro, had a whole running back breakdown.
Whoa.
We talked about
that
it
was
on
a
your
good show too, man. That was a very good show. If y'all ain't seen that, man, that was a very, very good show, man.
Yeah, Primos was cooking, man. Primos was definitely cooking. I want to hear your take, bro, because we were talking about the running back room, and we were talking about you had some fire questions on your show, man. What do we do if Josh Jacobs doesn't, he doesn't sign up and he holds out or whatever? We get rid of him, or whatever may happen. He's not a part of this squad at this point. What are we doing with the running back room? Let me know.
Pretty much like I said on our show, we're gonna have to go to a running back by committee. I think we all touched on it, KaneTown and Big Mike yourself. We're at a running back by committee. Now, most people hear that and it's like, okay, that might work in our favor. And I'm like, nope, that's going to actually work against us, because who in this running back room do we have trust to take that running back one and change a game like Josh Jacobs did last season? The NFL has been put on notice last season that Josh Jacobs is easily one of the top 5 running backs going into the NFL season of 2023. You take him out of the equation, no defense. We're talking about, what Raider Scout posted about jet sweeps and motions. No one's respecting that power game anymore. If you have a Zamir White back there, if you have a Brenton Brown back there, Brendan Bolden, God forbid please get cut. But, or an Andrew Walters or Sincere McCormick. Like, shout out to Graf. I know he's high on Sincere, but we don't know what Sincere brings to the table at the NFL level. We know what Josh Jacobs brings. So we can easily be in trouble. And I'm sorry, Raider Nation, but it is a call for worry if the Raiders have to go to a running back by committee if Josh Jacobs is not here for the 2023 season.
4 wins.
You said 4 wins?
Hey, bro, get out of here. I'm already negative as it is. Get him out of here.
You said 4 wins? You said 4 wins?
Josh ain't here. 4 wins.
You said 4 wins?
I second that.
I completely disagree with that.
No running game and no defense.
I would say this.
Hey, KaneTown, I found my new co-host, bro.
Look, peep this. So what was in the beginning of the year, right? One of the biggest criticisms of Josh McDaniels as a coach and as a play caller was that he was not running the ball enough. He was not running the ball enough because he wants to pass the ball. He wanted to give that to Derek Carr. He handed him the bag and he fumbled the bag like Josh Jacobs in the Chicago Bears game. But I digress.
Whoa.
But so and after that, what we're gonna talk about what Primos was talking about, right? I want to piggyback off that. Last year, Josh Jacobs, he led the league in all-purpose yards, right? Led the league. The guys that lead the league in all-purpose yards, as well, I think you were talking about carries as well, touches as well. Those guys usually fall off either that next year or the subsequent year. You look at DeMarco Murray did it in 2014. 3 years later, he's out of the league. Todd Gurley did it in 2017. He had a good 2018. 2 years later, he's out of the league. Like Saquon Barkley, he did it in his rookie year. The next year, he had an okay year. The very next year after that, he's injured, misses the whole year. Like same thing with Christian McCaffrey. It happens consistently. The Patriots are used to having not a number one back, right? The last time they really had like a true number one back was Corey Dillon was like the last like true number one back they had. They were able to manufacture rushing yards with Damian Harris, who was Josh Jacobs' backyards, and Ramondre Stevenson, right? We have the talent here. We have the talent here to do it. Add that with more tight end depth, I think more cohesive offensive line. That's been another year in this system, learning from these coaches, having these blocking schemes down, running more tight end sets, 2 better blockers at tight end, as well as a quarterback that's going to be able to get us in and out of these correct plays and more of a threat as a passer as well. Like last year, Josh Jacobs faced the 8th least loaded boxes. So that means teams weren't sitting on the run. Even when they were killing him, they're like, yo, we'd rather let him kill us than let Devontae Adams get off on us. And that was the differential there, right? Isn't it a coincidence that before Josh Jacobs, I think he has 2,000-yard season before that, and then last year he had like 800-something yards. You know how much you have to average per game to get 1,000 yards in a 16-game season? Like 67 yards a game. Yeah. So if your running back is getting 67 yards a game, you don't think he's doing a great job, right? That's like less than average as a running back. So I think that we're going to be able to manufacture a lot of these yards, and I think that we're going to we're going to have still a solid running game as well as be complemented better in the passing game.
Bro,
okay,
my earphones are on fire, bro.
So
I was
my
like,
earphones are on fire, bro. That was excellent, bro. You broke that shit down, bro. Chris, you gotta follow that up, bro.
Hold on. So you said we have the talent to run the running back by committee without Josh Jacobs, correct?
I believe we do. I believe we do. So like this. There was a situation before, right? And this, even though this is a different regime, when we let go of Jared Cook, what were Raider fans saying? We have no proven tight ends. What are we going to do with the tight ends, right? We got this guy we picked up off the Ravens practice squad. The Ravens are one of the best talent evaluating teams in the league. They didn't want him. They let him go for nothing. What he's going to be our tight end one, top 5 tight end in the league.
How often does that happen though?
Right.
It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. It can happen. And like I said, these guys are used to being able to manufacturing yards, not only with multiple running backs, but also with the short passing game, the quick passing game, screens, and as we already said, jet sweeps and motions, all that stuff. That's just stimulated. That can supplement your running game. That's what teams that don't have number 1 backs, they can't run the ball. That's what they do. They use those screens, those jet sweep, those motions to keep the defense off guard. And that's what made the Rams so successful. When they lost Todd Gurley, was their bell cow back. That's the system they went to, and it worked for them.
So go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Wait, hold on. Let Chris get one in, man.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so I have to say I disagree. So I agree that the Patriots did have a lot of success doing that, but we still have to realize we don't have the defense for that. We can't just depend on our offense just to really control the ball, just like that Patriot team did. We don't have the defense for it, and unfortunately, we don't have a Tom Brady. So I think we have to keep that into account, because if I'm a defensive coordinator, if Josh Jacobs is not in the picture, I'm happy, because then I could bracket Devontae, and it's easier to stop.
They were doing that already. They didn't care about Josh Jacobs so much that even when Josh Jacobs was the league leader in rushing, they were like, he still faced one of the least amount of loaded boxes in the league.
But look at like the games like the Steelers. They loaded the box, and so did the Saints. So those are 2 games that specifically that they went all in on to stop Josh Jacobs. I think without having Josh Jacobs, they're not giving that same they're not doing that for Sincere McCormick or Bolden or Zeus or anything like that. So I really hate that narrative that these running backs are just a dime a dozen. Now I get it. But when you have someone like Jacobs, who's 25, he's an all-pro. He, more importantly, he wants to be a Raider. Like, how long have we had stars on our team that didn't even want to be with us? We had Randy Moss at one point. He ain't give a damn. So it's like we have to, at some point, we have to take care of the guys that, for one, are homegrown. And we also, for the locker room's sake, I want everyone else to see, hey, if you go above and beyond, we're going to take care of you. Because if I'm a young guy that's just getting drafted and I'm looking like Josh Jacobs just balled out and they don't even want to take care of him, I'm like, come on, man. I just think that is bad for the locker room. It just sets a bad precedence for the rest of the team and morale.
So yeah, I want to let everybody else cook, but I just want to say this real quick. I think we underestimate 2 things. We underestimate how players understand that this is a business. Guys understand that this is a business, and guys understand that the organization has to do what's best for the organization. And they also understand the value of running backs around the league. Secondly, the last time we were saying, yo, we got to take care of this guy because he just balled out for us, a guy that had outlier production in a contract year, we paid him more money probably than we should have. And now a lot of people are pointing to that contract and saying, yo, we shouldn't have gave that guy a contract. And that guy is Hunter Renfro. So the guy balled out. We paid him. People are like, you have to pay him. Look what he just did for us. How can you not pay this guy? Now we paid him. And now people are saying, why you paying Hunter Renfro all this money? You don't want to pay Josh Jacobs? Then next year it's going to be somebody else. You paying Josh Jacobs and Hunter Renfro. You're not going to pay this guy. And then it just snowballs. When you're in a hard cap league, it's all about allocation of resources.
I agree.
Right? And running back is the least valued skill position on offense, unfortunately. So
for other teams,
period. for smart teams.
Yeah.
For smart teams.
Smart Patriots spend most money. Patriots spend money on right now.
So say that one more time, bro. I lost you.
Chris doing the robot.
Man, yeah. But yeah, man. I want Kane. I've been filibustering, man. I want KaneTown and Big Mike to get up in this piece.
Bro, you've been cooking.
I know.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah, and I was
bro.
Severe. I said I was gonna back Severe up because we talked about it too. That nobody was screaming to pay Josh Jacobs at the beginning of 2022. Back. Nobody was screaming. Like, people were wondering why didn't they pick their 5th-year option. They're like, okay, cool. Like, they're trying to see what they got in Josh Jacobs because, we brought up the stats of his last season, but let's go to the 2021 season. He had a little decline with injuries. He only had, after his 2020 campaign of rushing 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, he then went on to 2021, had a drop off of 872 yards with 9 touchdowns, decline in touchdowns, decline in yards. He also did have a decline in carries, but that was also because he was dealing with injuries.
All of it was
a lot of the 2021 season, because of those injuries, because of his drop off with touchdowns, because of his drop off with yards. A lot of Raider Nation was not really like, oh, McDaniel, Ziegler, pay this guy. 2022 happens, and now people are on the wagon, pay Josh Jacobs. But I agree with Severe. If they pay Josh Jacobs and Josh Jacobs gets injured, that's the thing. It's the unknown, because what if it benefits the Raiders? What if Jacobs does have like 1,400 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns? Yeah, we're going to look at it like, good, we paid him. But what if he gets injured? God forbid he's out for, let's say, 15 games, and you still got to pay him that guaranteed money. Like, it's an if. It's a very if, and history says don't pay your running backs after one good season. So it's hard. I'm glad I ain't Ziegler. I'll say that.
That's true.
My issue with what Severe's take was, why I said prove it, is we have a bunch of running backs who have done nothing. And when Zamir White got his touches last year, he looked underwhelming as hell. I can't count how many fucking piles he ran into. And then, not to mention, Josh Jacobs might have faced, the least amount of stacked boxes, but he also led the league in broken tackles. Mm-hmm. So it's not just the offensive line. And I can find a highlight reel of Josh Jacobs breaking tackles in the backfield and carrying it for 10 yards. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is if you don't have Josh Jacobs, you're going into the season blind at running back, completely blind, except for Zamir White, and that didn't look good. And you can't just bank on these guys. None of these guys were superstars in college. None of these guys have any proven track record. Sincere McCormick is the most proven running back of the bunch, but he did it in a very, very small school, so you still don't know. So that's my point. Is you're going into the season blind if you don't have Josh, and we could end up with a bunch of guys who average 2.5 yards per carry, and then we're completely screwed on offense.
Bro, you guys gave me a lot to chew on. I want to address Severe's point first, right? The running back by committee can work. The possibility of that working for us is a risk. I like the idea of doing that because, yeah, money wise, it does help us. We can focus that money somewhere else, or particularly to the defense. Now, I will say this: say we do go running back by committee, we need at least 3 or 4 guys that can come out there, similar to what the Patriots did, in the late teen, not the late teens, but the early teens, like 08, 09, where they were just putting out a guy from the gas station and he was running for 200 yards. Like, those are that's the type of things that would have to happen. Now, that's kind of a lightning in a bottle situation, but if that's where they're going, I guess I get it. Now, to Josh Jacobs' point, right? If we do pay a Josh Jacobs, we still need a guy that's going to come in and be that second guy, because the truth of the matter is with the offense is that Josh Jacobs was getting 80% of the yardage as a running back. Nobody else did anything. So that's why we're middle of the road as far as a rushing attack goes. So if you compare just Josh Jacobs' production in comparison to like a running back by committee, it's almost the same thing, right? If that's where you're kind of going with that, and it's kind of tough because if you do go with a running back by committee, you have you don't have any proven guys that's been in there and in the pros. Now we can look at college stats all we want. It's hard to say like, hey, yeah, this guy's gonna do it because based on what he did, in college, it's hard to say. So I like your take, Severe. Like it's you really like had me thinking like, man, that's a good point. That's a good point. But without him, we're taking a huge risk. We're taking a huge risk going running back by committee because all of our running backs are unproven. We have an Amir Abdullah who's he's a seasoned vet, but he's kind of that third down guy, get the short pass out of the backfield, screens and things like that. So it's we're in a conundrum for sure, bro. What you got?
So I will say this. As a organization, is it more risky to not pay a guy and potentially have a losing season, or to pay a guy and have that contract stuck on your book for years? We're still paying Corey Littleton.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
So it's like, and at this point, we have the Raiders have the control. They have all the leverage. First of all, I want to say that I don't know what Josh Jacobs is asking for, right? I don't know. So we're not privy to those negotiations. But one thing I was always told is that you're only as valuable as what somebody is willing to give you. So no matter what you think you're worth, if the market doesn't deem you're worth that, then you're not worth that. And that's kind of where we are right now. He can think he's a $15 million back, $16 million back. He may very well be that. But if the market doesn't bear that out, if there's not at least one team out there willing to give you that, then you're not that. And if your issue is money, if you're going to throw away, $10 million to get an extra $2 million a year over the next 3 years, then bro, that math ain't mathing. You feel me? Like that math ain't mathing. So it's we have the leverage. So you either show up and play, and then you can bet on yourself and you can walk after this, or you can throw away, you can burn $10 million and then potentially be Le'Veon Bell. And, so I think he will show up. He may not be happy, but I think he'll show up, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I trust in our ability, like I said, to manufacture rushing yards with the backs that we have, as well as in the short passing game. I think we'll be able to use that to our advantage. So I saw somebody earlier say something about Jimmy G and his need to run the ball to be successful. That's what he did in San Francisco. I mean, look at the backs that he had in San Francisco before he got Christian McCaffrey. That they were like late round guys. There weren't any first round picks that were doing that stuff, right? Until they got Christian McCaffrey, they were all castaways and late round guys they were doing that with. It all depends on your offensive coordinators and your play callers' ability to to get these guys in matchup situations that are favorable to them. I think Zamir struggled last year because he's new to the league. I don't think he was. I'm not sure what kind of system. I don't know if LSU was a zone rushing team or what. But we run a lot of power here. So
they got bullies on that old line over there, bro. They just knocking people over.
Yeah. And LSU is LSU is LSU. So man, he has to acclimate to the NFL. But this is year 2. So I have faith in his ability to be at least a somewhat productive back. Is he going to be Josh Jacobs level production? No, but you don't need that. We had that last year, and what did it get us? What did it get us?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Just a little input. Zamir was from Georgia.
Either same thing. They got bullies over there too.
I don't know why
I had to think about it too.
That is fact.
Let me jump into some of these comments, man. We got the Kingpin himself, Graphic Raider, my Shieldmore brother. What's up, man? Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the support. My boy Richard Teraoka, that's my real brother right there. Well, not biological, but that's my brother right there. Thanks for pulling in. Even though you're a Bucks fan, we still love you anyway, man. We still love you over here.
Enjoy the first pick in the draft next year, bro.
You talking about? Yeah. Ain't Baker Mayfield the quarterback, man? They going to the Super Bowl. What you talking about?
Yeah.
That's my pick to win the NFC South, baby. Come on, Baker.
man.
Oh, man.
Nah, man.
Saints don't win that division. DC is way out the first fucking year.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I don't know who's going to win that division. The Saints should win it, but, they should. They should.
Yeah,
they
we
should.
got PTSD over here.
We already video just laughing, and everybody's going to know.
Bro. You ever seen that video where dude is like laughing, backing in, getting to the Rolls Royce, just laughing to push the button and the door closes?
Yeah. Yo, we got 60 in the building. Make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Big Mike Raider, KaneTown Raider, Swagger and Boisterously podcast. Guys, let's talk about Sincere McCormick. Okay, that's I want to kind of shout out Planet Raiders, Waste of Talent. He dropped a fire article talking about Sincere McCormick. I'm gonna read one article. One paragraph of there. He says the Raiders have been pleasantly surprised by the presence of Sincere McCormick in their running back room. Despite going undrafted in 2022, McCormick has quickly made his mark after being signed as a free agent. He was used as a feature back in his college days at UTSA. I'm gonna read some of his strengths and just some of his strengths. He ran a 4.6, but he's more quicker than that. He's about 5'8", not a big dude, but he's very, very quick. So he shows a surprising burst to beat linebackers to the edge, can plant his foot in the ground and explode, showing better straight line speed than expected. Possesses quick feet and straight line speed, but doesn't have the elite burst to be a constant big play threat. Improving patience as a runner, following pulling guards, and makes good decisions on his cut. Does not possess top breakaway speed, though he's rarely caught from behind. I think they're kind of selling him short on that one, but because he could take off. Anyways, he flashes initial burst and good lateral quickness to sidestep defenders or bounce runs outside with very good foot quickness, and not truly explosive, but possesses enough speed to beat linebackers to the edge. How do you guys feel about Sincere McCormick making this squad, especially if Josh Jacobs isn't going to be around and we go an actual linebacker by committee? How are you guys feeling about Sincere McCormick?
He's probably the one that I'm most excited to see if we did do that. His whole scouting report you just read sounded like a mini Josh Jacobs.
Right.
Except for a few things. But for the most part, it sounded a lot like Josh. Everybody said Josh don't have that breakaway speed, but he's shown to have it when he needs it. He's the one I'm the most excited to see because he's the only one I really feel that maybe he could turn into a number one guy. I don't see it in Zamir yet. I've seen a little. Britton Brown looked good in the preseason last year, but I want to see it. I want to see him continue to improve and maybe he get his shot. And then the other guys, Austin Walter, Brandon Bolden, Amir Abdullah. I don't see anywhere near a number one running back in those guys. So Sincere McCormick is going to be exciting to see, just to see his potential.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Primos, you've been quiet for a minute. What you got, bro?
I'm leaning towards. I'm excited to see what Sincere brings. Not to just training camp, because the reports coming out of the OTAs that Sincere, he's like one of those underrated guys that can make this roster. But we're gonna have to see what he brings to the preseason. And last season, or not last season, but his last season in college, he had about 298 rushing attempts, 1,400 yards with 15 touchdowns. Now, we talked about how Josh Jacobs kind of got, too much carries, roughing around 393 touches in completion with his receiving. Also, Sincere McCormick took a lot of touches in his last year of his college days. Now, does that accumulate to a lot of rush yards? It could. He had 5 yards per carry. He was averaging. But it's the touchdowns for me that 15 touchdowns. You don't really see, more than 12 touchdowns from a running back, maybe from one guy, but he didn't just do it in one season. He did it in the season before where he had 11 touchdowns, 4 less. But it seems like this is a guy that's going to give you double-digit touchdowns almost every season. And what do I always say? Touchdowns lead to points. Points lead to wins. In this case, probably not with us because of our defense, but that's a story for another day. But we want points. Like, that's what I felt what was lacking last season was points left on the table, whether it was from the quarterback or whether it was from Josh Jacobs in the run game. Either or, I think Sincere can be a number one back. Can he be Josh Jacobs' level back? Probably not now, but who's to say he can't be? It can't ever be a Josh Jacobs back in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, man. I'm intrigued by Sincere McCormick. I wouldn't say excited. I'm intrigued by him. I haven't had a chance to really watch any all 22 tape. I get my hands on any for UTSA, but from the highlights I've seen, I like what I've seen. I am a UCLA fan. Shout out to Big Mike. I'm a UCLA fan. So I'm extremely familiar with Britton Brown as a back, and Britton Brown is a guy that is going to be. He's a very, very solid as a running back. Speed is underestimated. He's a guy that's going to put his foot in the ground. He's going to do a whole bunch of dancing. He's going to hit the hole hard, and he's going to get north and south, and he's going to hit you, and he's going to make you feel it. He's one of those guys that I think will work in this particular type of system. Chip Kelly is one of the best offensive minds in all of football. And people, assume it's because of what he does in the passing game, but actually where he does his best work is in the run game. So I think, some of that knowledge and that experience from, playing it in a pro style system under Chip Kelly will translate to the NFL for Britton Brown. I think that he can be an effective counterpunch if you want to do like Thunder and Lightning with him and Zeus, or whether it be, him, a three-way committee with, him, Sincere, and Zeus. I think that he can be an effective back at the NFL level. And he's a guy that's if you've seen him, he's built to be an NFL back.
Yeah, he's definitely a big boy, man. And yeah, you're right, guys. I'm definitely intrigued is a good word. That's a good word as far as Sincere McCormick. And I'm not going to get excited about somebody that you haven't seen him even run the ball yet and as a pro. So intrigued is a definite perfect word for it, right? Preseason is going to tell the story for this. I got one more question regarding running backs, guys. And this is something that we talked about a little bit, and we kind of disagreed earlier, right? We were talking about Josh Jacobs and what he's asking about money-wise versus a Saquon Barkley. Now, Primos, you made a good point. You asked a good question. Is it on these GMs to kind of make this to accommodate for Josh Jacobs, or like I said earlier, do you guys think it's these running backs are kind of standing in solidarity and kind of like holding their water, and first person that gets a deal, then the next person gets a deal based off of what that is? What do you guys think about that? And second part of that, do you think a Saquon Barkley deal should be whatever Saquon Barkley gets, we all can agree that Josh Jacobs gets a little bit more, right? But what is the gap? How much more money do you think that Josh Jacobs deserves over a Saquon Barkley, and explain why?
I'll tackle that one first. This is not on the GMs. If anything, this plays into the GM's favor because, I just pulled up, ESPN. They talked about it. An article by Dan Grazzino. He said, "Will Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs sign new running back contracts?" And one thing he pointed out is that this actually does not play in their favor if they were not sign the franchise tag or to even become a long-term deal, because next season they're right back where they're at. Negotiation process. Like, you're right back where you have to be. And this is probably going to hurt you because, to Severe's point, what if the running back by committee works out? What if Zeus breaks out? What if, or Sincere McCormick breaks out? Josh Jacobs, your value just went way down now because Josh McDaniels is like, hey, I got the running backs that I got, they actually worked out. I took the risk. The risk works out for me. So Ziegler's probably sitting back and like, Josh, this is on you. The ball's in your court. We franchise tagged you to give you a year so we could work out this deal. But you're already giving us an issue with this franchise tag. Ball's in your court. Now, as far as the running back standing in solidarity, and if Saquon signs his contract, how much more does Jacobs get? I don't think it's a lot. Now, I wanted to point out earlier in the chat, someone pointed out, could we agree? I think it was Raider Nation Jason. He said, can we agree McCaffrey was the reason we lost? He was able to break tackles and kept driving. Like, I don't know if he's talking about contract-wise, like the reason why we're in this kind of stalemate with running back, with Jacobs. The thing is with McCaffrey, he's getting paid as a wide receiver also, because with McCaffrey, he's less like not, try to be sugarcoating it. McCaffrey killed. We've seen it firsthand. He's a great receiving back. You could move him out to the outside, use bubble screens out on the outside, bring him out of the backfield on a wheel route. Can the Raiders do that with Jacobs? No, they cannot. McCaffrey's getting paid that money because he brings a wide receiver running back to one position. Jacobs brings a power back. He was talking about the Niner game, but Jacobs brings a power back. So I think if Barkley gets, let's say, 13 mil, I think I would say 1 million more for Jacobs, because you're mainly a power back. Now, I'm not saying he can't improve in the receiving game. It's just we have yet to see it. I'm not going to pay you based off what you potentially could do. I'm going to pay you on what you did, and what you did was you ran the football like a madman last season. So I'm going to pay you as a running back, not a running and a receiving back.
Want to take it, KaneTown?
Yeah, I mean, he said, Primo said that we haven't seen the improvement in the receiving game. We definitely have seen improvement in the receiving game by Josh Jacobs. Has he become an elite receiver at the running back position? No, he hasn't. But I believe he had somewhere around 50 receptions last year, if I'm not mistaken, 400 yards ish.
Yeah, 53 receptions, 400 yards.
Yeah, so I definitely see him trending in the right direction towards that, but maybe he's not at that elite level yet. Having said that, I think that we can say what we think he deserves above Saquon Barkley. But the thing is, like I was saying earlier on Raider Primo show, is that whoever signs first, the other one's getting paid more.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Raiders, I want to get Jacobs' deal done, because who's to say Josh doesn't think he's 2 or 3 million more valuable than Saquon Barkley? He's going to say, I played all 17. I led the league in rushing. Saquon was hurt. Saquon didn't lead the league in rushing. Saquon, if I'm not mistaken, does he have a rushing title? I don't think so.
I think maybe his rookie year. I know he led the league in all-purpose yards his rookie year. I don't know if he won a rushing title that year or not, but he led the league in all-purpose yards that year.
Okay, so then it's been years since he's done anything like that, and he got, let's say they give him $14 million, which would be terrible for us, because then Josh could turn around and be like, man, I did so much more than him last year. I deserve 16. And at that point, he has a leg to stand on to say that.
I will say this. So when Josh Jacobs came out in the draft, right? Came out of Alabama. One of the things that was touted about him, why he should be a first round pick, was his receiving ability. And right now, me, KaneTown, Big Mike, and Raider Primos, we have as many receiving touchdowns as Josh Jacobs has in the NFL.
That's true.
Right? So I mean, you can catch all these balls. Let's pause if Graf is still watching. You catch it, but if you ain't scoring, brother, this team doesn't. Between the 20s, we're fine, man. We need touchdowns, so we need guys that's going to score in the red. And this is a offensive staff that's not afraid to throw to running backs. That's why Amir Abdullah was on the field for all those third downs, because Josh Jacobs doesn't seem to be that guy in the passing game. So that also diminishes his value a little bit too. If you can't be a 3-down back, if we have to put Amir Abdullah in here because you're not enough of a threat as a wide receiver, then we're not going to pay you all that money. And like I said, Josh can feel, it's not about what you feel or what you feel you're worth. It's about what the market says that you're worth. Are these backs holding out in solidarity? No, I think I don't think that's good publicity. right? That they have agents and they have marketing teams, and they know they don't want the fan base to turn against them. So what they're going to say is that, oh man, I'm looking out for the little guy, the guy that's coming behind me. Nah, bro, you're looking out for yourself, and that's what you should do. You are an individual contractor. You know, you get the best deal for you. That is your responsibility as a player. That's your agent's responsibility. That's your responsibility for your family, and that's all well and good. And you can feel that you're worth all the money in the world. But if nobody's willing to pay you that amount of money, then it doesn't mean anything. I can look at a Pokemon card and think this is just a cheap piece of cardboard with some drawings on there. That's nothing to me. But there's somebody somewhere that's willing to pay thousands of dollars or whatever for that same cheap piece of cardboard that I would disregard. So it's not about what I feel or what I feel the value is. It's what the market says the value is. And apparently right now,
Pokemon card.
No, bro. Right now, the market is not saying that running backs are this valuable. And whatever, like, and I agree. Whoever signs first, the next guy, it's gonna be like when Derek Carr signed his deal. I think right after that, Matt Stafford signed a deal. Yep. And it's gonna be one of those I think somebody else signed a deal, and then right after like Jalen Ramsey signed a deal, it's gonna be one of those deals. It's like $100,000 more, or they're gonna like do something with the guarantees and guarantee them $1 million more than the other guy, and the average annual value is going to be pretty close to the same. But I think that it's going to play with the guarantees, you know, and there's guarantees and there are true guarantees. You know, in the NFL, they play funny with these contracts. So I think it's going to be something in the language with the guarantees where the next guy is going to probably get like 100,000, 200,000 more, but the guaranteed money is going to be greater in the first few years of the contract, and that's going to be enough to appease them.
Man, good point. Good point. This is a funny name. First on your baby mama's bucket list. That is a hilarious name.
That is a Hall of Fame name right there, brother.
Hall of Fame name. He says, what if Josh isn't entertaining any offers and is waiting for Barkley, and it's on him, not the Raiders? We really don't know what has been negotiated. You're absolutely right.
And name's up there with Lumpy Shark.
It is up there with Lumpy Shark. I will say this though, like if that is the case, right? I know that we have people want to jump out of the window for what Josh Jacobs did last year. They're like, yo, he's built different. We heard that on Primo's show. You know, Jacobs is built different, this and that. But we weren't saying that last year. Right. People are kind of cold on Barkley because he's injured. But I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to say that Barkley is probably a better running back than Josh Jacobs is when healthy.
Yeah.
And look what he did last season.
Yeah, look what he did last season. And you know, you got if Barkley's asking for 14, right, and he gets the 14, that doesn't necessarily mean to me that he deserves like 16, something crazy like that. I think that maybe he just gets a slight edge more, 14-1 or something like that. I'm hoping that Josh Jacobs signs the deal first before Barkley, because then that means Josh Jacobs is justified to get, you know, ask for a payday a little bit more. That's kind of where I'm at right there. And even Raiders Money Mike, he says Barkley is more versatile than Jacobs. I agree. I think overall he's a better running back. I think he is. I mean, even in today's league, he just has more to offer. Saquon is probably the best offensive weapon on the Giants, maybe even the team. Josh Jacobs is the second best player on the Raiders offense, maybe third best player on the team. So, you know, we're looking at I wouldn't even necessarily say we're splitting hairs. It's more of a like let's look at potential, right? We kind of have to keep that. We kind of have to put that in consideration when it's in the negotiation table. Yeah, I know that's like looking down in the future and what could possibly happen, but Josh Jacobs only did this once. I would put more money into a Saquon Barkley doing this sustained for at least a couple of more years than Josh Jacobs. You know what I mean? I think he can be a more all-purpose yards guy than Josh Jacobs can later on. Now, does he deserve his bag? Yeah, he deserves money. You know, he showed that, you know, we want to take care of our homegrown guys, like Chris said, right? We want to take care of our guys, but let's do it at a reasonable price too. You know what I mean? Let me get the super chat, $4.99 super chat. historically, man. $4.99. Appreciate it, man.
Black
Sales Sports Talk, my guy. We got to get him on the show too.
Mike over here, like,
There you go. Jack in the Box tacos for everybody, y'all. He says this running back ain't worth the price. Narrative has to stop. Jacobs a top tier back. Without him, no playoffs 2 years ago. He's been good since we got him. Yeah.
So look. This is not the narrative. Look, this not Severe Raiders narrative. This ain't Raider Primo's narrative. This ain't Kane. This is the NFL's narrative, right? This is what the NFL was saying. I'm not saying it. If running backs were getting paid $20 million a year and that's what the market was going, bro, pay this man his money, his 20. But that's not what the market dictates they should get. So that's not what he should get, right? You have to keep the value of the position in line with what other teams are doing. If you start paying all these crazy salaries, then that's just going to, first of all, that's going to put you in a tough situation, because then you're going to be in salary cap hell. And then the thing with Josh Jacobs is, past this prologue, right? Josh Jacobs can either sign the franchise tag and play it out on this year if we don't give him a long-term deal, or he can sit out. The last time a guy led the league in rushing and then sat out for a year, what happened? Teams know this. Teams will recognize this. And they will say, yo, bro, we're not about to pay for a guy that sat out an entire year. So he's going to be only hurting his value more, as well as missing out on the $10 million. And think about the mentality of Josh McDaniels and David Ziegler. They're like, yo, bro, before we got here, I think the highest rushing yards he had was like less than 1,100?
His career high was his rookie year at 1,150 yards.
1,100 yards, right?
That was his rookie year.
That's rookie year. He played 15 games that year. The next year, he played 15 games as well in a 16-game season. And last year, he played even less than that. I forgot how many he played last year, but he was hurt last year, but the prior year. And then this last year, he was so on the roster bubble, he was playing in the Hall of Fame game. People were speculating whether or not this man was going to be on the team, right? So Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are like, look, bro, we put you in this position. This is our offense that helped you do this. So, you can leave if you want to and assume that the grass is greener on the other side. But as I always say, the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. Mm-hmm. So if you want to stay here and put in that work and really help this team win, then sign that tender. Let us get our cap situation in order. Next year, we free up all this money, all this dead money, and then we can really talk. And then on top of that, it'll be another year of contracts going up for running backs. You'll probably get a little bit more than what you would have got this year in a long-term deal. That's if you want to bet on yourself. But if you want to potentially sit out a year, that's only going to burn $10 million and then hurt your value going forward.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Black Sales Sports Talk. He says, I think it's trying to copy what other teams are doing is what has had our team bottom tier all this time. You pay our best young players. He's a top 5 player on our roster and 25 years old. Pay him.
But us not doing what other teams are doing is what's hurting us. Yeah. What hurts us, and I talked about this previously, is that the Raiders are one of the only teams where we're chasing ghosts from the past, right? NFL free agency started in 1993. I think the Raiders have made the playoffs 6 times since that happened. 3 of those with the group. There was that year, 93, we got blown out by the Bills. The 3 John Gruden years, and then the 2, the one under Jack Del Rio, and then the one under Gruden / Bisaccia. So us not being able to do what the rest of the NFL is doing and conforming to NFL free agency is why we've been such a bad team. On top of us not drafting like other NFLs are drafting, not having the proper infrastructure organizationally, until Mark Davis, took over the organization and finally started investing more money into that type of stuff, and into our facilities, into our scouting department, into technology, all that stuff. Before, we weren't doing any of that because we were the Raiders and we were special, and it was the Raider way. But what did Al Davis always say? I just said it previously in another one of my videos. The greatness of the Raiders is in its future. We have to move to the future and not keep being stuck in the past. We keep trying to do stuff the same way, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's time for us to modernize as an organization, and that's why we went to one of the most successful organizations recently to poach some of their young minds and bring them over here. People may not like it, but at one point, Al Davis worked for the Chargers. At one point, Al Davis was a Charger before he was a Raider. So it all has to start somewhere. It's all about taking that stuff, still paying homage to your past, but looking towards your future as you move forward. And I think we have to start doing stuff differently. If there's stuff going on, if 99% of the people are going this way, sometimes it's smart to zig when everybody else is zagging. But sometimes, bro, you need to just zag because all these people are smart. They're not doing that for no reason.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I wanted to point, tackle on that because, just like with this comment, that comment there, that Jacobs,
appreciate, bro.
Is he a top five? Is he a top five player? He is a top 5 player. Jacobs is a top 5 player. But going back to the past, in the past, Raider Nation was like, we need to go pay these big name guys big time money. And it always bit the Raiders in the ass. It always, it never worked out. We seen it. I wanted to point out something you said, Severe, earlier, is the Derek Carr contract. At the time, it looked like it was a smart deal. You lock up your franchise quarterback after he had an MVP caliber season. Who's to say Jacobs is not that type of guy also, that he's going to get paid because he had a quote-unquote MVP type season, at least for the Raiders, and then it's going to drop off. Now, I will say, compare and contrast the quarterback market to the running back market. That's another market that got screwed up because now it seems quarterbacks are just getting paid just to get paid. Like me, Big Mike, or KaneTown Severe, we could go ball out for one season and we could get paid $40 million and we don't got to do shit for the next season.
Daniel Jones it up.
Yeah. So, it's like you said, Severe, it's the market because just like with the running back market, quarterback market is just, instead it benefits the quarterbacks because any quarterback can get paid. Where it hurts the running backs is that running backs are not looked at, like you said, as valued as quarterbacks are. Running backs come and go. So for Ziegler and McDaniels, it's Jacobs. There's more running backs that are going to come out in next year's draft. And who's to say? And it's funny you brought up Le'Veon Bell because he didn't sign with the Steelers. Why? Because James Conner was in the mix. James Conner came in and took that job. And people don't realize when you are fighting for a job, when football is all that you have, are you not telling me that Zamir White, Sincere McCormick, Brenton Brown, Andrew Walters, those 4 guys are looking at it like, hey, Jacobs is not here. That running back one is up for grabs.
It's time to
they got a
eat.
chip on their shoulder now.
Yeah.
So that's why if I'm Jacobs, I'm worried because yeah, bro, you think you got it all. You had one good season. We heard that before. You had one good season. We heard it with our quarterback. We've heard it many times in the past with wide receivers coming from other teams that they had one good season. So the Raiders pay them buttload of money to come play for the Raiders and they shit the bed. You had one good season. I would suggest if Jacobs wants to get paid the bag, you may need to wait till next year. So what I would do is sign the tag, ball out this 2023 season because I believe Jacobs will ball out. I said Jacobs could easily rush for 1,400 yards and maybe get 10, 11 touchdowns. He is that type of back, but it's going to hurt you in the long run because you got the young bucks behind you, Jacobs, that are looking to take your job. Like you said, Severe, it's a business. And as we all know, we're on the workplace. We work in businesses. If you're not doing your job or you're not showing up for your work, you got another guy behind you that's going to take your job. And the business will not hesitate to let that guy take your job.
Yeah.
Man, let me acknowledge these super chats, man. We got a $10 super from Pineapple. Maybe the O-line deserves some of the credit for JJ's yardage. What do you guys think about that one?
I think you need to do this man some respect and read his full name.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple B122 Flyer horse. Hey, if I butchered that, man, I apologize. Pineapple for short, man, but I appreciate your support. I think this O-line is not getting enough credit. I will say that. And I think that, you could have, maybe a running back by committee is something that might be in their vision already. Maybe that was their front office's vision, built this O-line.
Big Mike got Parham and Miller going to the Pro Bowl, man. So they about to ball out.
I think so.
Yo,
I agree.
Yo, I'm saying, hey, and shout out to my boy Richie. Hey, you didn't have to do that, bro. I appreciate the $5 super. Can Jacobs play for another 3 or 4 years like this last season? Reminds me of Doug Martin in Tampa. Great first and fourth years, second and third years, not so great.
The
Yeah,
Doug
that's a good point too.
The Doug or not. That's when
The
the
Doug or
John
not.
Gruden
He
was.
torched us, bro. Remember that year?
The Doug, yeah, he killed us. That's John
250 on
Gruden's
us?
boy.
He had 250 on our head, bro.
Yeah, that's John Gruden's boy.
Dude, I went to that game when he put 250. I'm like, who the hell is this man?
That's a rough one.
He was with us towards the end of the year too.
But guess what? Guess what? You know, I think running backs that usually come through the John Gruden system and it was in that system for a while, those dudes don't last. Look at Cadillac. Cadillac was another guy who was like one of the best backs in the league, bro. When those carries and those hits you take start adding up on you, man, like it's downhill from there, man. So I just look at it like that, man. Like the average, what was the average length of a running back career? It was 2.5 years, something like that.
I'm short like that.
Yeah,
2.5 years, man. So you know that's why I understand Josh Jacobs trying to get his money, but at the same time, bro, it wouldn't be smart for him to burn 10 million, you know, trying to get a couple extra, in my opinion, man.
To address the offensive line question, they deserve a lot of the credit. Just like any running back being successful, you got to give a lot of credit to your offensive line. Otherwise, you ain't doing shit. But the interesting thing about our offensive line coming into this year is you're going to see a lot more of a zone scheme this year. That's more the style that McDaniels likes to run. Our guys didn't know the system much last year, so you saw a lot more power blocking scheme. Expect to see our linemen moving around a lot more this year, in which case our running backs catching out of the backfield is going to improve. We're going to see a lot of zone schemes, a lot of guys switching up spots. It's going to be a lot different this year also. That's facts.
Yeah.
Look,
Josh, gotta feed him.
Yeah, Josh been hitting the hole hard in more ways than one.
Football players coming to the NFL.
Man.
He's the running back version of Phillip Rivers.
Everybody
exactly.
have the last name Jacobs in 20 years.
But to speak to what KaneTown is saying, I think that, you know, running more zone. Remember, I'm sure we all remember it. You know, I'm a little bit older than some of you guys, but you know, remember when the Denver Broncos were just cranking out like 1,100 yards back. Who was like Mike Anderson? It was Olendis Gary, and it was one more guy. I forgot who else, but they was like every year. There's no names. They'll let one guy go, and the next guy come up like, oh, what they gonna do? A running back? Oh, put up another 1,100, 1,200 yards, and that's what the zone blocking scheme. That's what they'll do for you. One thing that, you know, it doesn't necessarily help Zamir if he had vision problems last year, which I think that Clinton Portis? Maybe it was Clinton Portis, but I thought it was like another no-name guy. But besides,
I think there was one more because Portis was good regardless.
Yeah. Portis was good regardless. They traded Champ Bailey for Portis. So Portis came from Washington. But I thought it was like Olendis Gary was a no name. Mike Anderson. I want to say it was one more guy before him. I don't remember. But you know, if Zamir was having issues, you know, reading the blocking because it was power blocking, and maybe he'll do better in his zone scheme. Maybe, you know, this change will benefit. Like I said, I don't know what he ran at LSU because he didn't go there. He went to Georgia. But I don't know what he ran at Georgia, so I'd have to look into that. But, you know, maybe the change of scheme will be something that benefits him because that's something that's more in line with what he was used to doing at the collegiate level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bell or Ruben Drones?
Yeah, I think it was – what's the Ruben Drones? But it was all of those fools.
Ruben Drones.
Yeah, Ruben Drones. All those fools was killing us, man. Like every year.
Shout out to Joe FLA with the $9.99 super. I gotta wonder how good Zamir must be doing in practice for the front office not to be in any rush with JJ. With all these new faces through 2 drafts, Zeke and Josh believe the youth is the way. I mean, we heard reports about Zamir White, you know, being, you know, best shape of his life. He's ready to go. He's good to go and things like that. So it's interesting. What do you guys think about Zamir White? Possibly taking over as running back 1 if we don't sign Josh Jacobs.
based off of last year scares the shit out of me. But if you do look back to his days at Georgia, the man was a great running back. He was very good in college. He showed a lot of potential. His vision is just scary from last year, man. He hit so many piles and missed so many open holes, and it was like Primos was saying earlier, he was giving him Trent Richardson vibes.
Man.
And that's the last kind of vibes you want.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
So I root for him. I would love to see him come up. I would love for Zamir White to make us all not worry about Josh. That would be
oh yeah, absolutely.
in a perfect world, I'll take it. He's got all the athleticism. He's looked like he's in better shape this year. He's got the breakaway speed. He's strong, but you got to have it up here. If you don't have it up here, none of that means shit. Everybody's got the athleticism in the NFL. But if you're missing holes, man, and you're running straight into the pile, you're not going to do any good for anybody.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joe FLA, thanks for the support, man. I appreciate you, man. Then Matt Marinovich throws this in here, and then there was Terrell Davis. You guys, we already know how Terrell Davis used to get down. So
bring it up our nightmares, please.
Man.
Seriously.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I wonder how much of Zamir's struggles in terms of giving us those Trent Richardson vibes was because of the kind of scheme we're running, and trying to kind of getting acclimated from what he did in college to what we're doing in the NFL. Some guys, it's quicker for them to get that, and some guys it's not. And like I said to my earlier point about Darren Waller, that there was something that the organization saw in Darren Waller that year during those practices that said, you know what, we can let Jared Cook go. He's an older guy. He wants too much money, and we can run with this young guy. And, maybe it's something similar this year. Maybe they're seeing something in these practices and in these OTAs, at these facilities, and they're saying like, hey, you know what? Even if we don't get our bell cow guy back, we have this young guy, and I think we can, not replicate exactly what was done last year, but we can do well enough to keep defenses honest and allow us to run our offense efficiently. So, you never know. I guess another guy I'm intrigued by, I guess I like Brendan. We talked about James Conner earlier. Brendan kind of reminds me of James Conner in the fact that he's just like straight line, hard-nosed guy. He has some straight line speed, not a whole lot of wiggle to him, but he's gonna punish you.
I can see him doing some red zone damage for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Guys, we got 64 in the building. I'm gonna wrap this show up. But guys, all 64 of you guys, I appreciate you. Make sure you like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up like I said. Pedro Perez, shout out to you, man. I will say this about the XFL. That's going to be a pipeline for the NFL down the line. They're not worried about the XFL at all. And I will say that next week we're going to do Shaping the Defense for the Swagger and Boisterously podcast. I know you asked earlier about are we going to be back next year? I mean, next week. We're going to be back next week doing the same things. Guys, if you guys want to join in, you guys are more than welcome.
People not gonna like what I have to say about Max Crosby.
Man, hey, that's why you're here. Guys, real quick.
He's getting a little spicy over here.
Hey, I love it.
I told you about the Crosby slander.
Guys, real quick. Last words. KaneTown, my guy, give us some last words. What do you got, bro? Anything.
Man, just keep following with us. My guy Big Mike over here, still fresh off of hitting 1K. We got some young hitters all across the board, man. You got me. I just crossed the 100 mark. I'm happy with that. It's a small step to a bigger goal.
Exactly.
It's milestone. Man, with the knowledge that he just displayed today, man, he's gonna go fast. Them followers are gonna keep coming in. And over here, Raider Primos, man, they're gonna be right there. We're gonna be right there together, hitting 1K by the end of the season. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of guys we fuck with. We got a great team over at Planet Raiders, and it's just going to keep growing. Stick with us, man, because it's only going up from here.
Yes, facts, man. It's good being on with you guys, man. I've been watching y'all for a minute, so it's good to be a guest. Congrats to Big Mike on the monetization, man. That is huge, man. I know you guys aren't going to be far behind that, man. I just excited to see what this team does, man. We got the deadline for the franchise tag coming up on the 17th. I think, training camp starting for the rookies, shortly after that. So, for the rookies, they report shortly after that. Then the vets a few days after that, man. So, Just excited, man. Just excited.
Yeah, we getting there. We getting there. Primos, what you got, man? Last words, bro.
First, thank you, Big Mike, for allowing me to come on and just talk some Raider ball with you guys. It's been an awesome night, fun night, but we didn't get a chance to talk about our quarterback situation, and we talked about it, Big Mike, on Wednesday, that we believe, if Jimmy G stays healthy, this could be a surprising season that most Raider fans think about it. I think the fit is there with Josh McDaniels. You give him the supporting cast that he has. The only question mark is JJ. That's the only question mark. I think that worries us. As far as that goes, I think this offense can still, take over. We got to see if JJ signs. If he doesn't sign, like Safir says, this coaching staff got to see something in our backs for them to really not rush the JJ signing or seem too cautious about it. But I'll let you know if I'll come for the defense, because I'm really gonna get KaneTown annoyed with some Max Crosby slander.
Bring the heat, bro.
Bring that, bro. I want to hear that. I want to be on live for that one, man.
I'm gonna
that's gonna be entertaining.
Hey, Severe Raider,
and get him to tune in.
Yeah, Severe Raider, bro. Fire takes. You tore it up today, bro. On your debut, you came out guns blazing. I'm impressed, man. Guys, go check out Severe Raider. Let's get to him 100 real quick, man.
At least, man.
Yeah. Hey, keep cranking it out, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, keep cranking out the content, man. You definitely got a knowledge for this game. You got a brain for this game, and it shows by the way you talk about this game, man. I'm impressed. I don't know about the rest of the guys here, but I'm impressed. I'm glad we have you here, and you're welcome on this show at any point, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me, man. Appreciate it, man.
Anytime, bro. Now with that, guys, we're about to call it. Hold on. Let me get the intro, the outro going. All right, guys. Now with that is it. I'm your boy, Big Mike Raider, KaneTown Raider. To my left, the Swagger and Boisterously podcast. I think this was episode 4. We'll see you guys next week, man. Peace out.
This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth and just shot a few of my shits down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking device is just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces for my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history.